Today I would like to talk about multi-module project repositories in Git. So let's get started. There are three ways for managing the multi-module project repositories in Git. The first approach is using the Git submodule. The second approach is by using Git branching. And the third approach is using a master repository, Git tracking, and not tracking the sub-projects or sub-modules. So let's get started by first explaining Git submodules. So in this approach, we will be using submodules. There is a functionality in Git, and this is the submodules, and each submodule is a separate repository. However, if you go to the main repository, you can see these submodules. Then you can click on each of these submodules and you can go to the submodule. And each submodule has its own tracking systems, and basically you can apply the changes and keep track of the changes in the project. And a team can be working on various submodules. So it is possible that a team works on these submodules, and it is clickable. It means that if you go to the master repository, you can click on a submodule and then it will go to the other submodule. And as mentioned, it's suitable for team working in which everyone is contributing to a separate project. The second approach is with Git branches, and it's like keeping each of the submodules or sub-projects in a separate branch. You have, if for example, if the master repository containing its own code blocks and code files, and also it has some sub-projects, then you can keep each of these sub-projects in the Git, in various Git branches. This is very much suitable whenever there are a lot of branches in which it's like various deliveries in different branches, and then actually it's like suitable for such cases. The third approach is like basically having a master repository and just stop tracking these submodules and then only take care of the tracking of the master repository. It is also accepted whenever there is a small project. However, it will not be scalable whenever the project becomes bigger or the number of people working on the same repository becomes bigger. So let's get started by going actually to the code and explaining you these three approaches. For demonstrating how to manage Git submodules, first I would like to demonstrate the Git functionality, which provides to take care of various sub-projects by using Git submodule. So I create a new terminal, and here I would like to create a React application in this current directory. So I'm writing npx create React app, for example my app. It will take a few minutes, so I fast forward this video. For those of you who might not be familiar with what React is a front-end programming language based on JavaScript, and so we don't want to explain the details of React. However, only we would like to create some sub-projects here. So the sub-project is my app, and you can see that it has been created, and it contains a couple of folders and also a couple of files here. So we don't need to know about the details, but this is our first sub-project or sub-module. And I would like to also create another sub-module. For creating another sub-project or sub-module, I would like to use Django admin. And if you have not installed Django, you need to install it by pip install Django, or if you have not heard about Django, it's not important. Just I would like to show you how we can deal with sub-projects. So I use Django admin start project my project. So I click enter. It has created another sub-project like my project. Inside there is a folder with a lot of files, like 4 files here in it, settings.py, URLs, and so on. Again, the details is not important. So outside of this project, we can also create a couple of files like main.py just randomly, like for example, index.html and another file like index.javascript. So these are like, we have two projects, two sub-projects actually, and we have a couple of files here. So if I go to the my app, you can see that it has like its own Git tracking system. If I go back to the cd my project, if I go to the my project, you can see that, okay, it's not a Git repository because React by default enables the Git initialization. However, Django does not have such a Git initialization. And for these files, if we go to the root of the repository, you can see that Git is not still initialized. So we only have Git enable for this React application. For using the Git submodule, first of all, we need to go to each of these repositories and activate the Git tracking. But first of all, we would like to do this for the root repository, for the root of the repository. So for example, here in the root, I would like to use git init, and now it is initialized empty Git repository. And here, if I write git status, I can see that these files are untracked, or it's not in the staging area, and these two sub-projects, my app, which is for the front end, and my project, which is for the back end, are not still put to the staging area. So here, for defining a submodule, first of all, I go to first my app, and here I write git status. I can see that nothing to commit because everything is like, because the project is just created and this is the default of the project. But I would like to initialize it again, like to have a brand new Git tracking, and I write git init, and it is reinitialize this existing repository. And now I would like to see the files, and again nothing to be on the basically to be untracked. Everything is tracked right now and everything is up to date. Let's try to see if we can add this project as a submodule. So we write git submodule, and then we write add, and we name my app. Okay, there is an error because we need to use this format like // my app. And okay, this has been added, adding existing repo to my app to the index, and a file has been created here, git.modules, and my app has been with this path, and this URL has been added to the as a submodule of the main repository. So let's try to do it with our second project. So let's write git submodule add my project. If I do that, it should fail because my module already exists and it is not a valid Git repository. So we need to move to the my project, cd my project, and then because it's not a Git repository, we need to write git init, and now it is initialized with empty Git repository. And if I write git status, I should see various files which are not still staged. So I say git add, put them on the staging area, and then commit everything and just write initial commit. So now this is our first commit, and let me go back to the root of the repository, and I write git submodule add my project, and add this project also. Again, I wrote the path wrongly, so I need to say / my project, and now this should appear here as a submodule. So that's nice. Okay, we have two submodules right now, and if I write git status in the root of the repository, I can see these files which are basically committed. And this is the .git modules. This is the new file, changes to be committed, and actually no commits yet. And this is the my app and my project. And untracked files are these three files: index.html, index.json, and main.py. So let me add everything to the staging area, and then I also commit here, initial commit, and everything is committed now. For the submodules and also the main repository, we don't have any kind of remote repositories defined. So if I write git remote -v, we can see it's empty. And also if I go to my app and I say git remote -v, we can see that it's also empty. So I go back and write cd my project and git remote -v. We don't have any remote defined. So let me go to the browser and define a couple of repositories for our project. So I would say, let us create a new repository. I would say multimodule repo. I would name it main, and just for the description I put here main, and create repository. I would like to also create another repository, which is here, going back here, create another repository like multimodule repo front end, and then I put it for the description. Let me put it for the repository name, it's fine. And then I click, and let me do it for the last part, which is the backend. And I write multi-project repo backend and put it as a description, and again create this repository. Now we have three repositories defined. You can see them here: multi-module repo main, multi-module repo frontend and backend. So let me go to the main one, and I just click here, just take the link, and going to the root of my repository, I say git remote add origin and paste the link. And now if I write git remote -v, I should see the origin with this link, corresponding link. And so I also go to my app and trying to find the link again here in the repository. So if I go to the front end, I take the HTTPS link, and here also try to write git remote add origin, paste the link, and if I check it, I have now added the origin. So let me do the last thing for the backend project, which is the Django project, and it's actually a test project. And here I copy the link again, going back to the root, and then change to my project, and I write git remote add origin and just paste the link, git remote -v, and I check, okay, everything is added now. So okay, so for doing that, now I think we are ready to push origin. We would like to push to the master branch. We are in the master branch. We have basically have our first commit. We can check like git log --1 line. We can check that we have only one commit, and it is the initial commit. I say git push origin master. Now it has been pushed to the master. I should see this in the master. Yeah, it is here actually. And now I go to the front end, cd my app, and I again check -1 line. I see that on the front end also I have one commit, and I say git push origin master, and it should also push it to the master of the front end repository, which is here. Opening it in a new tab, and okay, we can see it is here. So one other thing is left. and that's actually put in Git here. I can do one other thing. So before yeah, I think we can already commit the changes. We have one commit here, right? This is initial commit for the root of the repository, and if I write git push origin master, we should be able to see also for the main repository, because yeah, the main repository is here. However, you can see that there is a my app and my project here, and this is the hash of the commit for each of them. However, I cannot click on this submodule, so I cannot navigate and it's not clickable. Why is the reason? Because probably the link is not there properly. So I go back to here, and I check the Git modules. You can see that the URL is .my app, so it has not been set properly. So let's go back to the repositories, and here I am taking one of these repositories, for example the front end. I copied this HTTPS link, and going back here for the front end, my app was a front end, I'm pasting it here, save it, going back, and also I'm going to the backend, also to the backend repository, trying to find it, and copy the link here, and going back to the project, paste it here, and yeah. So let's see what are the latest changes. Git status, Git modules is detected, Git add everything, Git commit -m, URLs are fixed or updated, I would say, and yeah, Git push origin master. So let's see what will be the latest changes. Hopefully now the repository has become navigable. So if I go back here, and if I go to the main repository, I can see that I can click on the repository. So I'm coming to the front end, and if I go back again, I can click on the my project, which is the backend, and you can see how nice it is to manage multi subprojects or multi submodules with this Git submodule property, which is available for us.